Today's the Feast of Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit came upon the disciples of Jesus. Now, where were they when the Spirit came? The Gospel today says that the disciples were in a room in fear. Jesus then, risen from the dead, comes to them and breathes on them. Receive the Holy Spirit. And what happens then? They leave that room and they go out into the world that they were afraid of. The Spirit is with them. So where are we today? I think a lot of us today are like those disciples. We're afraid of the world we live in. We may think that our world is unmanageable, out of control. In our country, that fear seems to lead us to distance ourselves from the rest of the world. We're closing our doors and shutting the windows. We're afraid. Today, the Feast of Pentecost, we celebrate the coming of the Holy Spirit. Jesus promised the Spirit not only to his disciples, but to the world, the whole world. The Spirit comes not just to lead and teach and guide us as individuals. The Spirit is sent to our world. Come, Holy Spirit, renew the face of the earth. We know the Holy Spirit in different way than we know Jesus. Jesus is God come as a human being. He's like us. He's born a child. He lives as a human being. He reacts to events and people around him. He speaks in human words. He suffers and dies and rises. So however distant his time is from ours, we see and we hear him as human like ourselves. But it's more difficult, isn't it, to describe the Holy Spirit? The scriptures use symbolic ways to describe the third person of the Trinity. Today's readings for the feast say that the Spirit is a driving wind, tongues of fire, empowering the disciples to speak with wisdom, with new words, and to act bravely instead of fearfully. There's another way, though, that the Spirit is described in the New Testament and in art. The Spirit is a dove who rests on Jesus when he's baptized in the Jordan by John. Now, there's a bird feeder outside our place, and it attracts a lot of birds, particularly house sparrows. But there's some doves who are regular visitors. And I notice when a cat comes or a hawk flies over, the sparrows disappear immediately. But the doves, they're the last to go, and they're the first to fly back. So now, are they just simple? I wonder if you could say they're fearless. They're not afraid of their enemies. You think of the story of Noah in the ark. Noah wonders if the floodwaters are gone. So what does he do? He sends out a dove who returns with a twig from an olive plant. There's life here. You can go out of the ark, the dove is saying. So the dove is not afraid of floodwaters or dangerous places. The dove, the Holy Spirit, leads Jesus into the desert, the realm of Satan. But the Spirit is not afraid of chaos or of evil or of the devil. The Spirit recreates the world. The Holy Spirit's with us today in our world. We don't have to be afraid.